It's time we redeem ourselves. All right, it's Monday. We got the cleanup crew at company headquarters. About to do some cleanup. We have a lot of stuff to do today. We're gonna be bush hogging. We got a couple entrances to prep and gravel as well. So we are gonna be working here today. Hopefully we'll be able to finish up today, but we shall see. Our original plan here was to be bush hogging this with our tractor, but when we got it on site, we realized it was just not functional. So Peg hopped on the mower and took it all down. I'm pretty impressed with how well this mower chewed through this stuff. I don't think this grass has been cut all year. Here we are at Thomas's project. He is breaking ground on a large shoreline. We're going riprap here. So basically what he's doing is he's cutting in a shelf for him to be able to access the shoreline, bring in materials, smooth it out, etc. So just knock this tree over, got to get this thing out of the way. Got a bunch of underbrush in here, filling in a bunch of cavities, which we're about to see about right here, I believe. So yeah, a bunch of cavities we fill in. So we bring in some soil to fill those in and get all the debris out and make sure it's a flat, even shelf for us to be able to get in there. And then we shape the shoreline with like a 45-degree angle, and that's when we come in and do our next steps. And what he's doing here is he's compacting it with the bucket just to make it a little bit firm, because it's all pretty loose. So we want to compact it, make it nice and even, so that way when the rock is on there, it all sits very even. All right, so we're up front. We're gonna freshen up this entrance here before the VDOT inspection. We need to have this entrance meet some specific codes, which it looks like it does, and VDOT's gonna come and verify that. I just wanted to make sure that gravel was not gonna be an issue, so I wanted to freshen it up, top dress it, make it so it's nice and able to use it, so there was no issues on that inspection. Because if it doesn't pass inspection, it requires a whole nother process. So this is their next block wall that we're starting. Quite a project. It's pretty tall as far as the slope. The grade is pretty steep here. And it is really dry, as you can see from the gravel. The gravel is drier than it normally would be, so it's a lot more dust than we would like. So basically this is a seawall, so the lake is low. Getting everything prepped, getting the base in. We're using a 21A. Wrapped in the burrito, wrapped in fabric, which we kind of call the burrito, and then there's 57 on the bottom. We have this clamp right here that we bought for setting steps, and the guys are utilizing it for this. I remember we paid around $1,300 for it about 5-6 years ago, and this thing has seen a lot of use. I would say that little clamp is well worth the money. If you're on the fence about buying one, just do it if you have any anticipation of getting into hardscaping. We've set a lot of steps with that, and now the guys are using it to move the block lower. Each of those blocks, I believe, weighs around 80 pounds, so every trip that clamp is moving 240 pounds. So we're back over here at the property. Basically our plan is to have 2 people picking up trash and 1 person mowing.
Soon this property will be ready to go. Got John over there picking up trash, and we also have Andy on the other side picking trash up as well. Starting to clear this field. Around the house is starting to look better as well.
This property used to be a rave property. It used to throw full-blown raves there, and I know it because I actually went to one a while ago, and it was pretty crazy. Just trying to get it cleaned up from all that mess. So we're back in the back piling the trash up, And I was gonna move this pile all to one pile, but the problem was it's literally a bunch of household trash. And I did not want to scatter the trash all over the field trying to, you know, bring it all to one place. Just trash deep into the woods. You know, I was trying to be as careful as I can. It's about 2 o'clock. We rolling. We got one pile over there, we got one pile there, we got one pile there. We got one big pile up front. It's Tuesday. We're at the job, the seawall project. Working hard over here. We're removing some of the sediment that was excavated from behind this next section of seawall. We're actually staging it up front, so these strips are pretty long to get the soil from up here all the way to the top. It's really wet, sloppy stuff because it came from, you know, near the lake. Here we have Nathan delivering a load of stone. And now we're finally putting those sandbags to use. Those counterweights make a big difference. So what he's doing here is he's smashing the sandbags together with the bucket, and this basically helps create a seal, and he's smashing them down. We're trying to get them as tight as we can, so when we start pumping water, the water is coming in rather slow. We're just putting the sediment back in front of the wall, and we're gonna be starting to backfill here. We basically have a woven geotextile for the back part. We're using a clean 57 stone. While they're backfilling, they're also filling in the cores of the blocks. This helps the blocks interlock better. And then moving the block again with our handy dandy clamp. It's pretty nice because the sandbags, even though they're, you know, functioning as a dam, they're actually a really nice place to put stuff. So we actually stage a lot of block and tools and stuff like that. It's like a big table nearby. It's time we redeem ourselves. We are repouring this patio, and let me say it went very smooth. We got everything framed up, looking good. I was in the skid steer. I was kind of reluctant because I was like, you know, I really don't have a lot of experience in the skid. I mean, I know how to drive a skid, obviously, but I was like, maybe I'm not the best guy. Then I was thinking, well, I don't hardly have any concrete experience myself, so maybe the skid steer was the best spot for me to be in. The most challenging part of the second pour was the leaves, and you'll see they don't really start to fall until, you know, it starts to count. You can see a few falling, but just wait until we start finishing, then they just don't stop falling. We were picking the leaves out as we were smoothing this out. And then when we get on the boards, when we get on the pad, we start picking them out as well. There's something so satisfying about finishing concrete. And then we got the broom finish. That's all she wrote. It's Wednesday and we're at the seawall project. Yesterday we repoured that concrete pad. Turned out great. We're really happy with how that turned out. Now all we gotta do is cut it. That project, other than grading, will be finished. Still making great progress on our block seawall project. We got a blessing for the neighbor to drive on through their property a little bit, make it a little safer for us to work on there. So that was very nice of him. So what was happening was, it's really tight quarters. There's only about 8 feet between the seawall and the neighbor's line. It's like a little pizza slice. So I called the neighbor. They just sold the house, so I called the realtor that listed it, and she gave me her number, and we were able to get access. And the reason we wanted access, so we could just have a little bit more room to turn the machines around. And then also when we're setting the sandbags, we need the blade in front of the excavator in front to give us some more stability. So here we are setting block. It's kind of a pain because every time you have to change the gravel, you got to peel back the fabric, but once you get it, you get it. And then we start backfilling.
Having lunch. What's for lunch, man?
Oh, you know, some good old burgers.
Burgers and dogs? Oh, shit.
I love to see it, creativity like that. One of them brought a propane grill and started bringing burgers and stuff to grill out. It's pretty nice to have some fresh lunch, so kudos to them. It ended up being a very beautiful day. Here we have Thomas rolling out the fabric, and he's setting it on the shoreline, so he's got it all shaped up and ready to roll. Now he's just setting the fabric there. We don't have any stakes or anything, it's just kind of, you know, gravity holding it. And then what you can see, when they're dumping, when they're tipping the load, they're holding the fabric with the bucket. So you can kind of see they drag it up and every time they dump. So that's how we were able to save a little bit of time and not have little staples everywhere, because that's a pain in the butt. And then what he's doing here is he's kind of shaping it with the excavator and then packing it in. So it makes it a nice, smooth, flat surface. It won't look like a pile of rocks when he's done. So this was just riprap to start with. And what we do is we kind of pile it, get it all in here, get it flattened, bring in more. And then what we'll do is bring in a gabion stone to top dress, and it helps fill in the gaps. So gabion's a little bit smaller than riprap. They got it looking good. And then we have this side to do. It's Thursday and we're at a little landscaping job. We're doing a little bit of leaf cleanup. Today we're still pushing along on that block seawall. Still making progress on the riprap project. We're doing a bunch of little warranty things, just little tiny little things, settling in a trench, settling pavers on a project, just stuff like that. Here we are jumping straight into one of the warranty things. When we put this in, we didn't know that little white pipe down there in the bottom was there. We thought it was just this little channel drain. There was another pipe under there from another box on the other side. They got it all fixed, tested, and flowing just fine, so good job. Got Jacob bringing in a load of gabion, it looks like here. And then Thomas is loading out some brush from this project. He is a wizard with that clamp. That clamp is really nice to have. We actually bought it to set boulders, but it also, it comes in handy for things like this as well. Just moving brush, being able to articulate it, it's just so nice. And it's got a really good reach. This excavator has a really good reach. You're easily able to clear the side of this dump truck. So it's really nice and efficient when we can bring a load in, a full load of stone in, and take a full load of debris out. It makes things go really efficient. And then what we do is we put the logs on top for weight, and it helps keep anything from blowing out. If you take a look at this, look how deep that water is. It's coming to the top of those bags. So we're actually, the lake here is about 1.5 feet low as well. They're running a small pump over there, but the lake is about 1.5 feet low. So we're this base course, not this one in particular, but the next one down there is, I think, about 3 feet underwater when when these bags are gone and the lake is at normal height. And we had to keep stepping the wall down even though it's getting taller because we're looking to build this on hard ground. There was a lot of clay here, so we had to keep excavating further and further down until we find some hard stone, or not necessarily stone, but really hard pack to build on. and we actually had to take off. We couldn't work here the day after because the neighbor had some renters coming down, so that was part of the deal. So we were able to access, but they didn't want us there on Friday, so we didn't disturb the renters. It is Friday, and I am visiting the crews today, at least the maintenance crew. We're doing some leaf cleanup at one of our clients. It's really kind of light through here, but it still definitely needs to be cleaned up. So, getting these leaves cleaned up. They don't know I'm here, so I'm just gonna I'm gonna hop on the windstorm and get this front area done. They're working in the back. Another thing to note is it's raining a little bit. Some sporadic rain showers throughout the area, so I don't know how late we'll be working today or how long, but we'll get as much as we can done in the meantime. I was honestly expecting a lot more rain than what it came. It was hardly anything. You can see the asphalt's a little bit wet, but that was about it. It was sprinkling here and there. So I was honestly not sure we were even going to be able to finish this project. So I just wanted to hop in and help them. And I figured I'd be helping them for, 30 minutes to an hour. And we ended up having time to do the whole thing. This backyard in this property was super difficult. It was very difficult. It was like a retaining wall back there you have to push all the leaves over top of. So what we did, well, we'll show you what we did. So I only had the handheld because they only brought 2 backpack blowers since it was just the 2 of them and the windstorm and a couple handhelds. So I just grabbed the handheld and the windstorm and just did what I could up front while they were working out back. Peg comes over here to help me get this stuff out of here. So about this point, I grabbed a backpack blower and I'm like, oh, okay, I see why we have these now. The thing is way stronger than the handheld. So basically what we were doing is had Peg standing on the windstorm, facing it towards uphill basically, and we were just blowing the leaves in front of the windstorm, and they were just getting pushed just, pretty far. So that was like the game plan. We had to do this a couple times to get everything out of there, and it was, if this project was wet, it would have been really, really difficult, but it was still pretty dry. I mean, it was very dry. You could still see the dust. We only had a little bit morning rain. All right, so me, Peg, and Andy, we finally finished up this job. I am so glad it was dry. If it was wet, it would have been very difficult and very challenging to do. So this is just the yard, and then, we did that hillside, which is the very tough part. So yeah, let's go to the next one. So here we have Jacob giving tailgate spreading a try. I think this is one of his first times, and so we figured he'd give it a try. There's really no harm or waste of time because we already have a skid there anyway. So I'd say he did all right for his first time. But yeah, so I love to see guys learning and trying new things. So I'm glad they did that. But basically what we're doing on this project is we're just refreshing this driveway. There's another little part that we're working on across the street, but this is what we got. Just get some fresh stone on the gravel part of this driveway. Shane and his crew are here because their job site, they weren't able to work because of those renters. So that's what we did today. We try to schedule these gravel projects on rain days. They just fit in so well because you can usually do them when it's raining. Can I just tell you how fun this windstorm is to use? It is an absolute blast. It is, there's so much air that comes from this thing. It's just wild. I really wasn't planning to work with the guys today, but this windstorm is so freaking fun. It pushes the leaves so far and so hard. You do like a couple swipes and it's just like instant progress. It's so satisfying to run this thing. So I basically did the whole front yard with the windstorm and they were in the back. The back was a little bit more tricky because there was mulch rings around some of their trees. So I wasn't able to use the windstorm around that part. I didn't want to blow the mulch all over the place, but we were able to get it pretty easily. They just had the guys use the backpacks around the mulch areas and we just blew it into the windstorm and took it to the woods. Once again, it was pretty dry. I mean, we're getting a couple sprinkles, but the leaves are still dry. I think this yard took us around 45 minutes to do from start to finish. This is up front by the cul-de-sac. I like to clean up the entrances at the properties, even though the HOA is probably responsible for this, but it just, you know, if the client's not home and they see that the entrance is the cleanest entrance here, they're gonna know we were there.
All right, this is Andy checking in and checking out. We just finished our last yard for Friday.